Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm your host, Bob DeMarco. Coming up, an exciting triple pocket check, a new knife from Kaiser and Dirk Pinkerton. How did you first know that you were a knife junkie? And we're also going to be joined by some very special guests. But before I introduce them, make sure that you join the conversation. Just in EDC, good to have you, sir. I will tell you that in a minute. Join the conversation, leave comments, questions, and, you can even come on if you have one of these new smart type devices like an iPhone or an iPad. You can just aim that thing at yourself and go to the website and boom, you can join us for a minute and ask a question or have some conversation. Barry, it's a pleasure. Nice to have you, sir. So I would like to introduce our guests tonight. Tonight we have Women Carry Knives and a Therapeutic Edge. Pete and Christine, nice to have you. Your mics are muted, but that'll change in just a sec. James, good to see you, sir, as always. Do we have your mics now? Let's see.
Yes. Live now.
There we go. Awesome. It is so great to see you, and it is literally great to see you because I only know you by your hands, your voices, and your excellent taste in knives. So it's really good to have you here. Yeah. Nick, it's good to have you too.
Hey, don't get me wrong. We thought about getting matching Batman masks.
Oh yeah.
Right. Just yeah.
The Shabazz, you'd be like your Shabazz 3.0.
Right.
So before we get into, I want to ask you some questions about you both have knife channels and you both are, well, you're a married couple, and we know a couple of couples out there in the knife world doing cool knife stuff. Jared and Karen Neve and the guys over at Birdshot IV and you, but you are different. You have your own separate channels. It's not, you're aware of one another. And in a lot of the, Ryan, good to see you, sir. And in a lot of your videos, you're aware that the other one is present, but you definitely have your very own separate channels and ideas and collections. How did this happen? Did it sort of happen simultaneously or what?
So I got serious a couple of years ago about collecting. I'd always had knives, but a couple of years ago, something lit up. And I think it was my access to channels like, Jimmy Slash and, Birdshot, Nick Shabazz. All of a sudden, I became aware that the things that I loved, there was just a lot more to it. And I began to get more serious about it. What I didn't know is how much attention she was paying. Because she was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. She was developing, obviously, to me, looking back, a real taste of her own. Then we went to Blade Show East. And I basically lost her.
Just took off. I always listen to the videos. So he would listen to, like you said, the Birdshot, Jimmy Slash. There were a couple others. And I was kind of always in the background listening and learning and seeing, what else I could find out about it. And I always had a knife. Now mine were gas station knives. But when we went to Blade East for the first time, I walked in there and I'm like, where's the women? Why are there no women here? Why is there nothing for women here? Let's hey, ladies, come pick it up. And so that's pretty much the reason that I started the Women Carry Knives, is to give the women a place in the community and show that we carry them just as much as the guys do.
And they don't have to be pink or have flowers.
No, they shouldn't be pink. No pink.
They can be, which is fine, but they're tools for her as much as for me.
My wife echoes that same sentiment, that you do not make a pink knife. You do not do pink camo knives, or to her, that's just pandering. Knives are knives, and if you need them, and you probably need them. So, Christine, once you actually got into it, did you notice that you actually don't need marketing or special things for women? It's all kind of the same thing.
Not so much that it's marketing for women. What I think is it's more just to show that women carry knives. They do. We use them. They're tools. They're protection. But I work for an electrical construction company, so I'm opening stuff all the time. I have the guys asking me for their knives, for my knife all the time, and most of the time I say no. Because I don't want them, I like my knives and I prefer to keep them for a little while. So I won't let them touch them. But no, I think it's more so just making a voice out there saying, hey, we do carry them. Hey, now I've done pink accents. Pink accents are
Hey,
okay.
Mike.
I like pink accents, just not a full pink knife.
Yeah, it's the same thing with purple.
Oh, I love purple.
Accent is great, or a little anodizing, right? But if there's flowers on the blade,
No.
if it's this big, now this is actually
Purple's
really good.
good.
Yeah, right. This is a really good example. But we both really like ADV knives, right?
Yeah.
He's nice enough to make sizes for all people, right? So this is hers. This is the mini Pathfinder, right? I can hold it, but it's a little, for my big old meat hooks, it's a little small.
But for me.
Right. So then there's this one. Right. There's the full-size Pathfinder, which is just the right size knife for me. So it's not so much about marketing. It's actually about tool size, making the appropriate tools for the appropriate hand size. And what we've learned going into this kind of together and watching is that despite how everybody wants to have big old hands and be really manly, there's a lot of people that prefer
smaller knives.
Right. And so getting them involved, and then their wives and girlfriends or the people around them, sisters, mothers, they're like, well, this is really cool and it fits my hand. And if it fits your hand, you can use it effectively. Right. And that's just kind of where we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of time asked is Mokutai is purple and pink in hue. I'm getting terrible feedback from I think from your speakers. I can't. Oh, there it is. That's better. But yeah, a lot of Mokutai and these sort of exotic engineered materials have those different colors and elements. And then also when you're anodizing, am I correct in this? When you're anodizing, you kind of move through different stages of color. And and so you can get a gradation across a surface.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. You won't start with the lightest color that you want and make your way darker. Which is what I've been told. I don't anodize. I'd love to, but we live in a condo. I don't have that kind of space.
So the ADV tacticals, I've always Andre de Villiers. I've always been kind of fascinated with his stuff. Just kind of following it on Instagram, starting with the Pocket Butcher, I believe that was the name of it. But he's always maintained a kind of similar look in the handle, and changes the blade and everything, changes, but kind of run crazy. Good to have you, Michael.
It's good to see you, Mike.
So, what I was going to say is, Christine, the blade on yours looks like it's got a fake hamon or some sort of hamon, or is it two different steels that come together there?
It's a DLC faux hamon.
Can you see that okay?
Yes. That is beautiful.
Yeah. This is, it's interesting because I have several. This one is never going to leave my collection. I am absolutely, fully and totally in love with this knife. I mean, it is bigger. And I'll say chunkier. I won't say really bigger. It's chunkier for a small size knife, but it's not going anywhere. I absolutely love it.
I think you were talking about the butcher or the tack butcher.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a few of these.
Hey, all right. So we've gone far enough without a pocket check. So let me put it out there to everyone out there listening, and also to the two of you. What were you carrying today? What was it you had in your pocket?
You see that? My Neutron. Now, speaking of anodization, if you can catch that blue.
Yeah.
I actually had somebody, his name is Jordan, I can't pronounce his last name, actually anodize this for me. And what's cool about what he does is he actually gives you a scale, and I should have grabbed that out. He gives you kind of a scale with all the different colors of anodization, tells you what volt will get it to what color. So I was actually able to pick the color, the specific color that I wanted for this. And then also for my atom, same thing. So I was able to pick the clip color. But that's it's in my pocket today.
And I had my atom in my pocket when I work for my dad part-time. He's 88 and helping him out is part of what I do. and he thinks he's a farmer. So I end up doing a lot of yard work on an acre of property. So I carried the Atom for most of that, but as soon as I got home, I switched over to the VDK, the War Admiral.
That is a cool knife.
Yeah, man, this thing is all right.
Best Tech Irida. I'm not sure what that is. This is hey, that's Dave. How you doing, Dave? I'm not sure what that particular knife is. Barry, good to see you. Manly Peak and Manly Parrot fixed blade. Interesting.
Hey, Barry, those are good knives, man. That's awesome.
Barry, those I don't know about.
Manly Romanian company. You don't hear much about them these days. Mark was carrying an Artisan Wren. Today I had my reground by Josh at Razor Edge.
Nice.
My XM 18 in Spanto with the somewhat cheesy but much beloved Python micarta.
That's pretty cool though. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on. That's awesome.
Best Tech Toucan and an Effin' Grow Blade Ogre Steel Will Plague Doctor, great name, and Tucson 80 Jaeger green tie.
And that Jaeger and the green tie, that's the M390 one, I think.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's Tucson. I can't get a grasp on it quite yet. I mean, I can, but it's the number thing, and if you're not fully immersed, it's hard to get a handle on a numbering system.
I've actually given up. I paid attention and managed to keep track for the first 150 or so models. And then after that, I just kind of went, I don't know. It's a Tucson and whatever, because they name them now and they're still numbering them, which means people will start talking to you about a Tucson and they'll throw like, it's the TS239X. And you're like, I have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
Go back, Jim. Dirk Werning had a TJ Fisher Cobra. Do you know what that is? Either of you?
I have no idea, but if it's Dirk's knife, I want to see it.
Right?
Yeah, he's got crazy taste and a really cool collection. I'm still holding hostage 2 of his knives. I know he keeps saying, hold on to him. Yeah, he's not saying hold on to him. He's saying take your time, but I think I've taken my time. It's time to make my video and move them along because they're getting a little too comfortable on the leather, the little suede patch they've been sitting on.
This way.
Right.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah. Just share the love, Dirk. Share the love.
No, look, Dirk is, so I have knives, and in fact, when I first saw big chunks of his collection, he was even on your show when I said this. I went from saying that I have a knife collection because I have knives. That guy has a collection.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful.
So, okay, that's a question for you. I mean, because to me, I always thought collectors were weird until I woke up to the fact that I myself, and want to, and people can get into collecting some obscure things. Our producer, Jim, Alex, nice to have you, sir.
Hey, Alex.
Got something I want to talk to you about later. Jim collects ice picks. He's got some other really cool things in his collections too. But I mean,
if Jim were a woman, I would be scared.
just and Jim's he's not the kind of guy you expect to have an ice pick. So it is cool that he has a collection of them. But at some point, I woke up to the fact that these aren't, for a while, I was like, well, doing martial arts, I got to have, some serviceable knives. And at the time I was living in New York and, I can't carry a gun. And now that I can, I don't. But, maybe I shouldn't tell the world that, except when I'm heavily strapped, which is all the time. Right. And so, but I went from having some great knives to having, a big case full of them. When did that happen with you?
For me, like I said, it was a couple of years ago. I had a fairly large fixed blade collection, mostly budget stuff. I like big knives, and I used to do a lot of camping, considerably more than I get to do now. And so I had a really big fixed blade collection. And a couple of years ago, I just leaned into folders, and I was the guy at my local knife shop saying, you can get all the knife you need for $40, to 2 years later to saying things like, well, it's only $425. That's reasonable. So that's how that happened.
That's progressive insanity.
Oh yeah, I went from having 15 or 20 sort of Kershaw CRKT level knives to probably 60 knives that cost more than I'm going to share right now. But that's just what happened, right? And as I started chasing what makes a knife great, I went from carrying knives, buying knives that I just used a lot, to chasing materials and makers, and that's when it sort of flipped over for me.
So I think for me,
I'm so sorry.
mostly,
You.
it really started when he brought his knives along with him.
Yeah.
So he brought his knives in, and I loved his knives. And of course, there were a few that were comfortable in hand for me. But then we went to Blade Show, and that kind of was it for me. And I mean, my first knife, which actually I don't even have here, that I bought a more expensive knife, was the HEA Hunter.
Mm-hmm. That's a good knife.
And it's a front flipper. I mean, that knife is so awesome. And I actually passed it around at the show, and it bit 3 people, but it never bit me. So I knew it was mine because it never bit me. My second knife that I bought there was a Medford, the Smooth Criminal. And that was kind of the start of way more expensive knives, because I'd started with, I had Kershaw's, and I had more budget knives like you say. But I jumped in with both feet and just started.
So where are you if this is the start of this is your Kershaw days, and this is the rarefied air of wherever you will end up in your collecting? Where are you? I mean, in terms of this is the Michael Walker that you really want, and this is the Kershaw. Like, where are you there?
I'm actually closer to the top than I like to admit. You get to a place where you have the ADVs, and you have the CRKs, and you have the Hinderers, and you have and once you kind of get there, our dog is with us, and she likes to make noise when we talk. Once you get there, then you start looking to like complete whole collections. Like, for instance, right now I'm trying to close the circle and have all of the VDKs.
How many is that?
It's 6 or 7, and I have, as of tonight, I have 5. So I'm getting there.
You're getting there, man. Those gaping holes are almost filled. That my brother has a collection, or used to have a collection of firearms, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm done. It's all done." I'm like, "Yeah, but there's a very obvious like lacking in the composite full size." He'd be like, "Oh my God, you're right," and he'd go out and he'd have to buy another one. Is it kind of like that for you? Because there's always VDK. They'll make another one too.
Yeah.
That's the big problem. Is you're like, okay, this is it. This is the last one. I'm not going to collect anymore. And then your tastes go up, your costs go up. I mean, I mostly some reviewed, and somebody at Chris at My Addiction gave me this Drew Hara custom.
Oh.
Okay. It's the light. That blade. I don't know.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. And now I'm going, oh God, the bar just raised. Because I would love to have one of these. I would love to start getting some custom knives. But again, it's also what can you afford? Because I run a business, it's a little bit easier for me, being that I am a knife dealer, to get some knives at a really good cost. And that to me is great, but deadly at the same time.
They don't really lean customs into dealing.
No.
Right? Customs. I only have one custom, and it's a Bethco Mako.
Oh, sweet.
I won this in a raffle. Do not get into raffles. Don't do it. And I thought it was one of his mid-techs, and I posted pictures on Instagram, and he popped up himself and said, "Nope, that's one of my customs." This turns out this is a full Zerk show side. Not very good in this light, but let's see if I can get it. I mean, that's full Zerk, full tie. It's a EBL steel. And this went from a knife that I thought was pretty cool to one that I'm going to keep forever. And those are rare.
It is beautiful. I love his designs. And as far as customs, like I'm starting to allow myself to, I have 2 customs, and I now the possibility is open for more. But I'm not calling them customs in my head. I'm calling them handmade. And to me, Hey, Dirk, how's it going, sir?
What's up?
It's good to see you.
What's up, brother?
Asking you shall receive, right? So you wanted to see the Cobra. Not to cut you off there with your handmade, custom made.
Not at all. I'm just thinking that that calling it handmade is going to make it easier for me to justify. Because who am I that I need a custom made knife? You know, I'm not a Rockefeller, but maybe if I think of it handmade, well, you know, I did go to art school and I do understand like handmade. So maybe if I look at it that way, I'll be able to justify it.
Start using that, Bob.
So that's actually a good segue into the TJ Fisher Cobra. So we'll see if we can show this up here.
Oh, that's nice.
Come on.
Okay, and so this is, he doesn't call it a custom. I don't understand why, because he made 10 on pre-order.
Oh, that's cool.
And his opinion is that you have to have a customer to have a custom. Well, I'm like, but you pre-ordered them. You opened up a pre-order. So 10 people ordered them and then you made them. I mean, I guess this one, he was already in the process of making. And when I got one of the prototypes into review, I gave him a call and we chatted and got some details and some stuff. And I actually held the review video until he was ready to launch. And so we kind of worked together a little bit, launched, I announced the price and told people how to get the deposit in and whatnot. And so while I was talking to him on the phone, getting some research, he goes, well, you know, I've got one I've almost got done in a week or so. Did you want it? I'm like, oh, Jesus, of course. Sure, I'll send you the money when we get off the phone. And so I guess this one didn't have a customer until I came along and was the dummy and said, sure.
I love how understated that. Now, you recently did a video on that knife, I believe.
I did.
I love how understated it is. It looks beautiful. It also looks like it's got a nice 4-inch blade or so.
Yep,
and
4-inch. And he actually just came out with a 3.5-inch version of this as well.
That's my size.
So Alex says
got a couple left. What up, Alex? Alex and I have been talking almost all day on some other stuff.
he also had 2 other things to say that I thought were good. One of them is everyone needs a custom knife, and I think that that's true. Even if you have, you know, even if you're an enthusiast about knives, you have 5 cold steels, and that's where you're going to draw the line. Is it 6? I believe that 6th one should be handmade. And also he said he wanted me to ask, who's got the better collection? Women Carry Knives or a Therapeutic Edge?
Well, no, that's a great question.
That is.
I have a deeper collection.
Yes.
But a lot of my knives don't work for her. So I think for her needs, she's got a much better collection than I do for her.
I would have to say that because he's got a great collection, but some of these are just, they're too big for me. For example, I love that knife, but that's a freaking axe in my hand.
Oh, geez, I don't have my axe here.
You saw that in his hand, right? How put that in your hand. Okay, it looks like, oh, it's a normal size knife, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now give me this. It's a beast.
That'll fit in your pocket, no problem. It's okay.
You know, so I'm better off, like I said, you know, with the small ADV, the mini Pathfinder. That's my size. I tend to be more medium sized, and or you know, the bug outs, the neutrons, the atoms. So I think I have a wider range of makers, of brands than he does, but mostly because some companies don't offer smaller knives. So, yeah.
I'm a little jealous because sometimes she gets really stoked over, you know, like a Kershaw will come through. And it's a great little knife, and I can tell it's a great little knife, but I must admit, I'm like, you know, she's like, this is so cool. And I get re-enthusiastic about that because I witnessed what it was like for me just a few years ago, right? There was a time when any knife that showed up was a great knife. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not great, but was exciting. And I think that's changed a little bit. So watching her get enthusiastic, it doesn't matter so much makers and materials. What matters to her is how it fits in her hand and how she feels about it. And so that helps me stay sort of centered in that way, because otherwise...
I can't. I don't know as much. You guys, I mean, you put me to shame. You all know a lot more than I do. I've not even been doing this a year yet. So I'm learning, but I love learning. So one of the knives, which was the one that I just did? It's not on the table. But it was interesting to me, I picked up the knife and I'm like, well, what kind of steel is this? Something I had never heard of.
Oh, the RWL34.
Yeah, and I'd never heard of that. So of course, what do? Well, I want to learn as much as I can. So I go online and I learn as much as I can about it. And then I kind of give a little history of, where it came from. And I just thought that was cool. Pete had mentioned one time about a Dirk knife. And I'm like, well, what is that? I didn't know because I was just getting into it. So what do? I look it up, look everything up, learn as much as you can, look it up, and you find things that, that you like. And
I'm sorry, a quick question for Dirk. Is that a car payment or a house payment that you just showed us? I think it's fair question.
This one, it's no problem. It's $900.
Yeah. That's a little outside of my reach still, but I'm getting there, and that scares me.
And he's actually working on another one for me that he does call a custom. Again, the makers, I don't know, which is a little more than that. But Alex was asking about cost. Who has the most expensive knife between the two of you? Oh. And I'm thinking, Alex, boy, that's a touchy question to ask a husband and a wife. I don't know if you tell each other, like, I've been married. She didn't have a clue what I spent. I got a deal on eBay for $50. Don't worry about it. It was fine.
Yeah. Someone gave it to me.
Answer.
Exactly. Fell off a truck.
To be fair, I've had some knives because I reach out. I talk to people all the time. I love talking to people. I reach out to knife makers all the time because I want to know more about their knife or more about what they do or, whatnot. And there are times when I'm sent a knife because they want to see, what do you think of it as a woman? And, but, and sometimes they happen to be knives that Peter really wants. But, yeah, I think really Pete, I would say Pete has the more expensive knives. And some of the knives I've gotten are because he gets it and it's too small for his hand. He's like, look what I got today. And I grab it and I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And then he's telling me it's mine.
Right.
So,
at that point, it's not worth sending back or,
right.
Trying to sell or just you keep it. Yeah. I mean,
hey, Dirk. I got a question for you. You responded to Knife Whisperer's tag video, which I have yet to, but I would like to, about impractical knives.
The most impractical knife, yes.
And that raises a question to me. I mean, that is a tremendous knife, and I could tell by how far zoomed out you were. I knew what you were going to pull out. But it raises a question to me. I mean, because your collection to me seems like it's probably got a couple of sub collections, but maybe the largest sub collection is knives that you don't necessarily carry, but that you have, for personal enrichment, like you would a painting or something.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, like obviously the Phil Harvey Peacemaker, which is the one that is my favorite impractical knife from the Knife Whisperer call out. It's 2 pounds, just over 2 pounds, and it's big. I've shown it on the last time I was on your show here. I don't have it here in my office. So that one, obviously, I don't carry, but it does fit in my pocket. But most of my other knives, I actually do carry, from, a $3,000 bag down to my, $100 whatever. I'll carry it. I will just carry it to the right thing. So if I'm going to a wedding, I may take a really nice fancy dress knife, stick in my suit, because somebody there might want to see something cool and I want to impress them. If I'm going out on a off-roading trip, I'll take something that's a little less flashy, more practical in the dirt or the wilderness. So, but I do carry, oh my gosh, pretty much do carry most everything that I own.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that. I would expect that there would be maybe that's just how I would do things.
There's probably a couple that don't or get carried rarely.
Right.
To be honest, some of the bigger overbuild, like the Phil Harvey, both of my Phil Harveys, my Gladius, I don't really care that one either because it's very big. One of my pull forces is just humongous, so I don't really care that. So I just got another pull force in the mail today.
They make some cool knives.
So
I want to ask you all. I tried to send out a little thing to you guys, but it ended up being late. But have you seen Dirk Pinkerton's latest collaboration with Kaiser Knives? It's a knife drop I recently spotted on Knife News, and just curious if anyone had seen that.
The reverse, or is that the reverse, or the? Oh no.
Oh,
The artist.
No.
Yeah. Actually, I may have seen that a month or so ago. A couple of months ago in person when they were first doing the roughs. Living as close as we do to the artisan rep for Cal, in this area is pretty helpful. It's
wait a second. There's an artisan rep here local because we live close.
Yeah.
How do I not know about this?
He's in the South Bay.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to know.
Now you tell me.
You don't know that.
I need to stay away from you guys. First I wanted to hang out with you guys, but now I think I need to stay away from
We
you.
know all the wrong people.
It's bad.
And,
We actually just got back from Monterey Bay Knives this weekend.
I think my checkbook is telling me to stay away.
I sense an enabling relationship. You were saying, Pete?
Yeah, so that's one of those so there is a sort of a breed of smaller knives where they do the handle in such a way that they work even for my giant meat hooks, and that Dirk Pinkerton design is one of them. It is not an enormous knife, but because of the sort of rectangular handle shape, it is very comfortable in hand, and I think they're going to sell a ton of those, one to me included. So
That's cool.
I think it's interesting. It reminds me a little bit of the recent the recent redux through Riat, I believe, of an early flipper called the Synergy or something kind of cheesy like that. I can't remember what it is now. Someone out there knows what I'm talking about. So chime in. But anyway, it's reminiscent of that knife. It's got the curved belly, but the straight edge up front. The thing that strikes me is it's such a departure from Dirk Pinkerton. I always think of Warncliffe's and B, Artisan and Dirk Pinkerton. They made that gigantic proponent. You remember that knife?
Yeah,
I have two or three. I actually have a D2 proponent, the small one, the titanium and S35 VN small proponent, and the large proponent. I might have some. Yeah, no.
I had a large. Somebody sent me a large one in copper to review, and then Dirk Pinkerton just sent me a Kaiser Escort that he did.
Nice.
The Escort
also
is a great knife.
It's pretty cool. I'm still playing with it. I'll get a video out on that here in a few days. So
here's the funny thing about that Escort. When it came out, it didn't land. It wasn't terribly popular. And a couple of years later, the Chavez 229 by Riat landed.
Yep.
And I have to tell you, and particularly the Redencion Street, I think that if that Kaiser had come out at the same time as the Redencion Street, it would have sold way better because it's a different knife, but it has very similar ergonomics and a very similar feel in the pocket. And I think people who didn't want to spend $300 on one knife would have leaned heavily into that Escort. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I really like it. And I did have a couple of Chavez's in that people loaned in. So that was really cool to have a 229 and a couple of 228s in different versions to kind of compare and play with.
Yeah. I think that the Escort is it's one of those knives that looks kind of perfect, at least from the show side. It's just everything about it. I never got it, but I always kind of gave it the big eye. But that's the one. It's got the black blade and the okay. It's that drop point and I'm rarely excited by a drop point, and it's got a really just beautifully shaped blade. Small knives that work for big hands. We need more.
Agreed.
I get small knives because I like them and I like their thingness. I like everything about them except carrying them. I never, it's a security blanket thing. I never feel quite secure going out into public with a 2-inch blade,
Fair.
I prefer the bigger blades myself. So
Yeah.
I get it. So
That's
this is the pull force that just came in.
Oh,
So this is the MK1 that was made for Gerard Butler in London Has Fallen back in 2016.
that's fantastic.
Is that about a 4.5-inch blade? 4.2.
It's for something. I haven't really measured it yet. It literally just came in the mail a little bit ago. I did a quick unboxing video. And
I'm going over to Dirk's house and we're going to play with knives. I'll see it. I got to go. Oh,
So
hey, it's really nice here in Napa tonight. It's fine. We could, you could. There's no.
wine tasting.
There's no traffic. You could probably be here before we're done with the show.
that
Right?
sounds just like DC. No traffic. Love it. Hey, Dirk, hold that in reverse grip with the blade out. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. You got all those. You've got two swales. You got two swales south of your palm where you could trap an opponent, if you were so that is a beautiful knife.
Yeah, so it's got this here, which is nice. You could get somebody here.
Yeah,
I mean, it really could do some damage.
Yeah.
And it fits pretty good in the pocket.
Fits good in the pocket.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Love it.
So is that what you were carrying today? Oh no, that just came in today.
This just came in today. I had the Cobra in the pocket most of the day today. I work from home, so it's kind of unfair to ask me what I was carrying because I've got 3 or 4 here on my office desk.
Right.
I got more out in the front room. I got more. I change my knives throughout the day. I change my watches throughout the day.
Right, and you work out of your home, so
and I work from my home office.
So it's like the whole house is your pants,
Pretty much.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
Cool
can
powerhouses on the show. Blade Banter. Good to see you, sir, David.
I show something really quick?
Please do.
All right. Speaking of blade banter, hey, David. This is a new knife coming out. Oh, and my light's just horrible on this. This is going to be the Orion Knives Solaris. This is designed by David, Blade Banter. It's a button lock, if you didn't see that. It's a button lock. It's a flip. I mean, this is a fantastic knife. It is smooth. Now, this I would consider a little bit larger, right? But holy crap.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is going to be,
we weren't planning on this, but he had the kindness to show up. So
yeah.
Look,
And it's here and I can't stop playing with it. So.
I have a lot of pocket knives. I may have mentioned that. I think recently I discovered that I've got close to 160 folding knives. It takes a fair amount at this point for a pocket knife to land with me and make me not want to put it down. And when this thing got to our house, we argued over it because it's just very good.
It really is.
That's awesome.
David,
I'm super happy for him.
David, let me say congratulations. That is a beautiful looking knife. I've seen it actually on your page, on your web, on your Instagram pages, the two of y'all, and it definitely caught my eye every time I saw it. And wow, that's so cool to see one of your designs in material form. So congratulations, David.
I hope that was okay, brother.
Yes.
We didn't mean to take over your show for a second, but I just really wanted to give him props, or he deserved it.
I don't know. I think that's awesome. That's what this whole show is here for. Like
and I didn't mean to break in and just take over either. So
guys, let's all start apologizing to each other. Sorry. My swords are crooked on the wall. There's no sorry.
One over there is a little. I mean,
Did you just say your swords are crooked?
Yeah, exactly. That's a personal problem. We don't want to hear that. It's a family show.
That is for
Sorry
sure.
about the dog, guys.
Not at all. So, Pete, you've started doing the what's in the pocket videos. I believe that started. Hey, Slicey, good to have you, sir. Got me an Orion. He says. You started doing the what? EDC, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Walking with your son and watching. What can I say? I'm a multitasker. Right on, man. I mean,
it's a family show. We don't want to hear about your swords, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's great when you can get your kids excited about knives. I just bought my daughter just turned 10, and I just bought her first Swiss Army knife.
Sweet.
She's been borrowing mine for about a year now, like when she goes out into the woods, and finally got her one of her own. So That felt good. EDC,
awesome.
dude, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
How old is your daughter?
10. Yep. And so, yep, she got her first knife, and more button locks, please. I am agreeing with you, James. And to me, it comes straight out of a fidget thing. I really want the ProTech that you just did an in the pocket video, and that's what I was just spooling up right there. You started doing the in the pocket videos.
Yeah.
I think during the onset of being home a lot recently.
Actually, a couple of things happened. I was doing 4 videos a week, which was a lot of fun, but I couldn't afford to keep it up. I mean, I went through basically I'd gone through my knife collection, and I was starting to fret. What can I do to continue to produce content that's interesting to me and sort of fun? And actually, Christine said, why don't you just show people what's in your pocket? I said, okay. And I held up my little camera and I did my little bit, and it was super popular, which was great. I wish there was a way for the people that watch those videos to share pictures back.
Right.
Because that would be rad, but that's just how that started, just as a way to continue the conversation about knives without having to continue to spend a ton of money to keep the channel alive.
Yeah. So that was
a real struggle.
Nick Rogers just commented of Niche Designs. I'm so eagerly looking forward to getting those cool knives of his to check out. Love my Hogue button locks, says David. Says Dave. So I think I like the small digestible bites, it's a great way. A lot of people might be like me. I steal time during the day. For me, it's when I'm rendering something or waiting on something. I'll open up a YouTube video, see what's cracking. And your videos are great because Plains Crafter, thank you. $10. Wow. Manaj, what am I? I'm just running off at the mouth. But thank you. I appreciate that. But I love the quick bites, and it gives you a minute to watch the knife open and close, see what it's like in hand. The Chavez gets me every time because the only thing that stopped me from getting one of those is the clip. To me, I know it's a polarizing thing, but
now I understand if you're not cool enough to handle the skull clip.
I was thinking the same.
To be fair, I was a complete and total hooligan in my 20s. This is just really fitting. It's not, it's not something I probably would have fallen in love with now, but there's still a part of me that pretends like I'm 21 or 22, and this was everything I owned. So It works out just fine for me.
I can understand that.
I feel like it's, aesthetically, it looks nice, but I feel like it's a little, great guess. I love you 3 guys. I feel like it's, thank you, Professor EDC, for chiming in. It's a little on the nose. You might be before a judge and you might be like, well, I use this for work. I open boxes. Like, really? What's the skull for, young man? I don't know. Maybe that's just how my mind works. I like all the videos, whether they're
consider that in some states people open boxes with autos.
Yeah.
Right. I think that if you're, let me put it to you this way. One of the advantages of being old is that I don't worry so much anymore. My knives are nobody's business but my own. I'm not flashing them in public. If something was to happen and I had a pocket knife, what the clip looked like, or even what the knife was itself, would probably be the least of the conversation that I would have to have.
Right.
If I was 20 and still looked like I was trying to get arrested full time,
that's a different story.
Right.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
No offense, but for those of us that are older.
Hey, there have to be some benefits to surviving this long.
I know, right?
Right? Oh, yeah. And one of them is I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. But don't get me wrong. I agree completely. When I first saw these knives, I fell in love with the pattern, the shape, and the style. Looked at that clip and actually passed on one at Blade Show because I picked it up off the table and I went, nah. And it wasn't until I got home that what I had done sort of landed on me. I was like, why would I do that? No, I take that back. Slicey Dicey showed me his standing outside of Blade Show East, and I had an opportunity to play with it, and all I could think was, I'm an idiot.
So it's your fault. I know Slicey's watching. Your fault, Slicey.
Yeah, man, that's entirely your fault. In fact, I think a lot of this is his fault, really.
Yeah, it's not all just for sure.
Hollywood.
I like
Hollywood
that.
Tactical. Go back one if you would, Jim. Hollywood Tactical said that the skull on the clip is a bit juvenile and tacky, in my humble opinion. And
No, Charles.
I'm not so. To me, I wouldn't say tacky because it seems well executed. But to me, I'd be. Yeah, it's an interesting take. Rusty Knife Lover, late but here. Good to see you, sir. Jim, can you go one back before Rusty? Hey, Jared and Kara, good to see you.
Hi, guys.
News.
So I am awaiting a my Emerson sax. I sent it to Jared for a sharpening and a tip rehab, and I'm going through all mine. I have many of those little tip rehab projects that I'm going to be sending his way, but. He put a screaming sharp edge on it. Slicey. I apologize for nothing. Exactly. And he fixed the tip of the worn clip of the sax. And to me, that takes some skill. Fixing any tip, but definitely like that acute triangular point. I can't wait to get it.
Jared does really good work. I have watched his channel. I have watched his sharpening. I think he really has that sort of focus and energy. I don't sharpen. I mean, I'll strop and I keep stuff reasonably sharp. And the advantage of having an enormous knife collection is that I don't use anything enough to actually risk dulling it anymore. But if I were to, I have a couple of people that I would likely send them to, because I can field sharpen inexpensive knives and fixed blades in the field when I'm camping. I can keep those sharp. But I don't want to mess with, I don't want to mess with my Evo Typhoon, right?
No,
I mean, this is a prototype, and if I was to dull the edge on this, I want to send it to somebody who's much better at this than I am.
Yep.
Right.
No, the whole thing, big boy, the whole damn thing you had to fix.
I don't sharpen anything either. I just, I've never spent the time or energy to sharpen. So I have a couple of good friends that I just send the stuff to. They put a wicked edge on it and they send it back. I just don't mess around.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally reasonable, right? I mean, there is an element in the community that says, if you don't, there's this whole, you got to sharpen your knives. Look, I have 2 jobs. She has 2 jobs. I love knives. I don't have 2 hours to spend on a KME, finally sharpening every one of the knives that I own. Maybe when I'm later and I've got more time, I will. But for now, much rather send it to somebody who's got that skill already. Just get my knives back safely.
I'm just lazy.
Tier 1.
I'm just not going to do it. I'll just rather ship it and let somebody else do it. That's all.
It's something you do because it's relaxing and you slip into the flow state and you're listening to your music or your podcast or whatever and you feel the angle, I would imagine. I mean, I can get into stropping and I can get into sharpening on a Spyderco sharp maker. I know all you people who actually sharpen are bristling now but you know what I mean? Like you can just kind of get into that repetitive motion. Mm-hmm. Brian says, I use a wicked edge at home and enjoy it. It's another level of enjoyment for me in the knife hobby. And some people also love taking it all apart and or like some people, that's what they do immediately upon receiving a knife is take it apart, see how it looks. And that's a temperament thing, I think. And I don't have that. I'll take them apart when I have to, but when they get dull, just buy a new one. Dave, yep. I'm with you.
That's my policy. You need new windshield wipers, just buy a new car.
Yeah, all right.
Same difference.
Freehand sharpening is the way to go. Ceramic rods or files are pretty much all you need to maintain a good edge. Really quick and pretty easy to figure out. Yeah, easy to figure out for sure. I mean, I think it's a patience thing. I don't think anyone has to sharpen, but they should have a knife that's sharp no matter how they get it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Agreed. So send it to Jared if you need a sharp knife, or we also had Mike Emler on the show. I also hear he sharpens knives.
I might.
The Spyderco ceramic slipstones are fine grit. I have one of those, and actually that is how I fake fixed my Warnie when I dropped it on the kitchen floor, as Dave just gloated. Depending on the steel, for me, I love sharpening as a relaxing activities on most steels, but S90, yeah, someone else's problem. Yeah, you were talking about that. It's just a very difficult steel to work with. James,
you're absolutely right. The more you have, the less you need to sharpen. Because
that's right.
I rotate through, and when I was going to an office prior to this position, it was a different knife every day. I would never wear the same knife every day, because the guys at work would want to see what was the new knife today. So
Right.
it was always a different knife. So nothing ever really
I'm
gets
a little
dull
confused.
with
Are
it.
you allowed to carry the same knife twice? Because I've been doing it the way you do it.
Yeah, I think it's a rule you're not supposed to. So
I was under the impression you had to change every day. That's just what I thought.
You guys are like
every day
divas with the dresses on the red carpet. You know, you get seen twice in the same dress. You're run out of Hollywood, I think.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
horrible.
I can't wear the same knife and watch and socks. I mean, I have a sock thing too if you follow my Instagram. So the socks have to match the knife, which has to match the watch.
Just
thing.
another weird collector. God, man.
It's a thing. It's a problem. My girlfriend rolls her eyes pretty much constantly. She's probably got the strongest eyes in the world because they're constantly rolling.
I'm sorry, but I'm rolling my eyes right now too.
It's my gift. It's my
I can't
gift to women is to get the eye rolls. That's my gift. And I do it well. Mom said, find something you're good at and be the best you can be. It's my gift.
That's right.
Go back to Slicey's comment, Jim, if you would. I wasn't understanding it. So my 110 knives are just yes, exactly. That is a good sharpening system. And then 111 is even better. 112, yeah, ever more.
That's right.
Look at it this way: at the other end of that, the first of the 110 will never be dull. You'll just keep moving away from it ever.
Yeah. And you can sell them all as factory edge. David says that your that knife you were showing off was just insane.
It's absolutely insane.
I try to use my disposable utility knives as much as possible and save the blades. Okay, so let me ask you this, Hollywood Tactical and everyone listening and everyone on screen. These not new, they've been dribbling out for years now, but the little custom made utility knives, you know what I mean? The first one I've ever seen, including that Rexford one that was really cool and expensive way back when. The first one I've ever seen that I've liked is the one that just came out. I think We is making it, or Civivi is making it. And it looks like a little knife, and it's actually the replaceable blades are proprietary, and they give you, I think, 2 replacement blades and one that's Damascus. And so what do you think of those things?
I like them. I mean, the Ruck, for instance, this thing, is a personal favorite of mine. If I'm going to be cutting up cardboard, and I know I'm going to be cutting up cardboard, why would I take one of my $300 pocket knives to do that with when there's a tool built for it?
Use your shit, bro.
I do, man. And I also stab trees. Knives and trees. But look, if I'm in daily life and I need to break, that's fine. But if you tell me you're going to do a ton of this kind of like grindy cutting stuff, that's what these are for. Why would I not bring the right tool?
Okay, so then
I agree.
So then, what's the point of Civivi making a knife with disposable, a utility knife with disposable blades that aren't disposable? I mean, you can't just go to Home Depot and get replacements. You got to get them from Civivi/We. Seems like it defeats the purpose.
Doesn't Buck make a knife like that too, where it's essentially scalpel blades on the end of a knife handle, and you can replace them as you go? There is some sort of a market for that in field dressing game or something. Yes. I don't know. I haven't hunted in 25 years, but I feel like there is an existing sort of niche for that kind of knife, and maybe that's what Civivi's leaning into. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, I want to ask you all what new knives you have. Wait, what?
Oh, jeez. They'll let anybody in this group.
It's true, man.
It's all gone downhill now.
There goes the neighborhood. We should leave.
Hey, Alex, how you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? I just want to say
what's up?
What's up, homie?
It's very good to see you, sir.
It's good to see you guys too. I'm a big fan of y'all.
We were just going to start talking about new things that are coming into our collections, new knives we're excited about. But before we do, I just want to make 2 little announcements that I saw. USN Gathering is canceled.
Saw that.
And also Blade Show West is canceled. But apparently Blade Show East is still going to happen in August as of right now. So
it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't book your
think so?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we
either.
ended up canceling our trip. So
I mean, I'm not planning to go. I wasn't planning to go before. I think Blade Show will be canceled by the time it's all said and done. I think that's going to happen.
I think Atlanta's had a go of it lately. You know, it's had a lot of big activity there that might slow things down a little bit. So anyway, I just wanted to say this. I said that I have the sax coming back from Jared with his Edge, and I'm very excited to have him on and to talk about his sharpening again. And to once I've had the new knife, I also sent out in Emerson my CQC 13 to have custom made micarta scales, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I love micarta and I love my Emersons, so should be good. Let's go around the room. Christine, what do you have coming in, or what are you excited about?
Sadly, right now I have nothing coming in. What I am excited about, fail, is I'm so scared of this knife right now. I chopped my finger really bad. But the Concept Mini Cryo.
Okay.
And this is a fun little knife. It's a great little knife. This is the only purple one there is. So I'm kind of excited because they reached out to me and they're doing kind of a little small run of 200 numbered, and they wanted me to choose the color. So they come out in September, I think. So it's something that I get first dibs to sell them in my store, and it'll be the only purple ones. And so otherwise, no, I have no money right now, so I can't buy anything. But if Pete has anything coming in, I will gladly take it.
But before we get to that, two things. First of all, Slicey came out and said that the governor just said no gatherings over 50 until mid-August. That will no doubt affect what we were talking about with Blade Show. But also, totally cool to have a run of knives made in your honor / at your behest. That's really cool.
I'm stoked.
Well, that's a whole different level from what I do. I actually have two that are coming that I'm super excited about. Is that us causing the echo?
Maybe.
We turn the mic down a little bit. Or let's turn it down a little bit. Turn that volume down a little bit.
It's good now.
Yeah, it sounds better.
Yeah, it's when we get loud, I think, that it...
Get loud.
Excited. Just
excited.
Nice and easy.
First, do you guys know Cutlery Lover?
Yes.
He designed a knife through Bastion called the Sword Tail, and I got one of those. And they dropped. So that's on its way. I should have that by the end of next week. And then as I was mentioning earlier in the show, I've got a real VDK collection. And I found a VDK Wasp, which is a limited run that he did a while back. I found one of those, and I'm doing a trade for some Kaisers and some other stuff to make that happen. And then the Tepe Designs Killage should ship next week, and I'm super excited about that. So,
the Killage is an amazing Turkish giant curved scimitar-like blade. Very cool that they designed a knife after that. And you were talking about the Cutlery Lover's knife. That is an integral, and I remember when you could sign on to get in on that drop. It was a crazy good price, and I just didn't have it in me to get it at that moment. And I really like him. I've always followed him, and I felt bad I didn't get that. But it's a cool looking knife.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And he's interesting. He's got an enormous channel, but he doesn't make that much noise on social media. Like, I don't hear from him a lot, really. But the opportunity to support him and his design, it's good materials. As you said, it's an integral, which I think is really cool. It just made sense when he released them for me to jump on board. So I am really looking forward to that. And to get a chance to support him too, because he's just out there doing his thing, man. Like, he's really, when I think about where I want to be with the channel and, in 5 years, if I could be more like Cutlery Lover, like Jeff, and just have it just this thing that I do and share not just knives, but other bits and pieces, I think that would be awesome. So.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? What's new with you, and what do you have coming in? What are you excited about these days?
I've been revisiting a lot of old stuff I have in my closet, and There's a few customs I sent out recently that I got repaired, things that weren't perfect, which I'm really actually excited about. They're like whole new knives. I had a couple of them upgraded. I got a Steve Skiff recently, the Drifter.
God.
And I've been really excited about this knife. It's not like over $1,000 or anything like that. But it is so good. I mean, me and Eugene Kwan were talking about this thing, and it is, yeah, Eugene's great. He loves this thing as much as I do. I mean, it's just that good. Like,
it is beautiful, that milling on the handle, how it goes into the different material and how it goes across the contiguously across the clip and all that. Professor EDC Jeff's channel is awesome. Yeah. That is a beautiful knife, man. But you were talking about how you had a couple of custom knives rehabbed, and I know you had your Old Dominion Knife Works knife rehabbed. I love that guy's work, Casey. I'm trying to get him on the show to talk to him.
yeah.
Do you have that Old Dominion in your realm right there where you can grab it in your reach?
I can grab it pretty quick. Yeah.
All right.
All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you, man. Yeah, he's a guy. First caught my eye just with these really cool knives, custom knife maker, and then I saw his name, Old Dominion. I'm like, oh, he must be in Virginia, and that's where I live. And well, he's not close to me, but I feel a connection. You know, it's something like that. Are you guys familiar with his work at all?
I'm not.
Not really either. No.
Cool stuff. He does some large. He does this one model. Can't remember what it's called, but it is a large, upswept, slicey kind of folder. Skiff build is super solid. Yeah, and it looks almost jeweled. Beautiful thing. Well, as Alex is going to get his old. Oh, there he is. Let's see how this thing looks. This guy does some really cool work. He's also a tattoo artist. So it's always interesting to me when people have different artistic disciplines and to see how those things feed into each other.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's see it, sir. I can't remember the name of this damn knife.
You're on mute, Alex.
Yeah, he's muted. Let's see that.
All right, here we go.
There he is.
All right.
So this knife is super, super special to me because this was the first knife that I ever picked my own materials and made my own custom. Like, I bought a couple custom knives before, but I've never had like that maker interaction. This was my first one, and I decided to go with superconductor and lightning strike carbon fiber. And this one is called the Chupacabra. That's what this model is called. He makes a small one. He makes a 4-inch one. And as like a knife person, you know, I like to be fair. This knife had a few issues when I first got it put together. But that was like, this is a 2017 build. So recently I sent it to him. I said, hey, let's take another crack at a few things. Let's reblade it. Let's, you know, add some zirconium to it and stuff like that. Let's pimp it out. So I sent it to him, and he made absolutely one of the most perfect knives. I am so pleased with it. It is so awesome.
Man, that is out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like no other knife I've ever seen, and it's kind of cool because it's like two different knives on two different sides. Gives you that two different effects. So it's a bolster frame lock with a Damasteel blade. It's got a zirconium pivot color with superconductor bolster and back spacer. And he made this really nice, beautiful sculpted zirconium pocket clip and lightning strike carbon fiber, those little thumb studs.
I agree, Bad Monkey. That is
Awesome.
beautiful. I love the profile of that model. I mean, just everything about it. That is really beautiful.
So,
Hey, Skywarp, good to see you, sir.
here's what's cool about this, though. I only gave Casey like the knife in intention just to fix a few things and reblade it. In that time, he upgraded it to full ceramic bearings for me, full ceramic detent, like everything. He just redid the whole knife. He even opened this up. Like, he didn't tell me he was going to do any of this. and the knife came back, and it's just like, I mean, like a Shiro. I don't know. It's unbelievable. Really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Casey's good.
Yeah, I hope we end up scheduling a show. I'd really be interested in talking to him, finding out how his other artistry feeds this. You got something else? I hear another clickety clack.
Sorry.
How about you, Dirk? Do you have something new?
The new things that are coming is a TJ Fisher custom that he's working on, the King Kamehameha. So I reviewed a full dress Kamehameha earlier that a buddy had sent me, and it was like 3.5-inch blade. So it was a little tight. My fingers were a little cramped in there. I loved it. And TJ came out with the King Kamehameha, which is like a 3.75 blade. So he's made one already, and he's working on mine for number 2. So that's going to be pretty cool. Nothing super crazy. Keeping it pretty.
I think it's funny because 3.75 for him is like pushing the envelope, you know, like he likes to make those smaller knives, but then they have those nice, really like super tall blades, and his grinds are just like out of this world.
Yeah, so I've got that one in the works, and then a buddy of mine has a Eric Luther Orphan that I'm going to be buying from him.
Oh, that is so you.
with, the Damascus blade. It's kind of crazy. He's been holding it for a little bit. We're working some deals. So
what'd you call it? I got to look this up later.
It's a Luther. It's his Orphan model.
Orphan.
It's
big, you guys see this
thing,
you'll be like
crazy. Yep. You'll see it and you'll be like, oh, is that Dirk's video?
That's a Dirk knife. I love those, and they're really well made. Like that guy's a really good knife maker.
Crazy. Another buddy of mine in Sacramento has one, and he's tried to trade me that one for my Peacemaker, and I'm like, yeah. There's only like 20, 21 Peacemakers out there. So I mean, Phil Harvey's still making them. If you want one, reach out to him in the UK, and he'll make you one. But there's only about 20, 21 of them out there now. So I'll keep it.
I don't really have a custom that I'm chasing, although I have to admit, if I could get Andrew Demko to make me a custom 8010, I would really sink some money into that. I love the 8010. I think that it's just about the perfect pocket knife for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. If I could get him to make me a premium materials custom with that hollow grind, that would be so good. And of course, I would love to have, the 5 Max. Just because that's not big enough.
Make a 5 Max?
He does. He makes a custom 5 Max.
Right on.
Which is the 4 Max plus about 1.5 inches in both directions.
Sweet.
I'm smiling because that's my favorite knife that he makes too. Like, I love that. And I've picked John so many times. I'm like, dude, how about an 8010? He's like, oh, dude, we don't really make those anymore. I'm like, what do you mean you don't really make them anymore?
Right.
So, yeah. But
the AD15s were pretty cool. I just got to check those out. I just did a video yesterday. Came out.
I saw the video.
I don't remember. Which was really cool to have a cold steel version and a custom version to compare side by side. And it was the first time I'd ever seen them in person. It was really kind of cool. That's what I really love about having the channel right now is people are loaning stuff in that, I would never see.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I get to pick and choose, and then I'll go and buy something maybe,
By the way, man, $425 for an MG 8020. What a killer deal that is.
Yeah.
No, that's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about selling one of my hinderers to pick that up because I've already done that. I have 2 and I've done that now.
Yeah.
So I would love to have one of those 8020s. I think they're amazing looking.
Oh yeah, so cool.
Any of you have a Spartan Harsey folder you want to sell me? Anyone out there in the wider world?
I'm sure somebody in the world has one.
Come on, Bob. Pull the trigger already. It's been 6 months? Come on.
I know. I've been just like kind of going to the website. Well, okay, they still have one. So I don't have to buy it yet.
Somebody just send him one, get him over it. I mean, you send it to him, and then he may love it, and then you may just be able to work out a deal to keep it.
Or he's just going to wait, and he's going to go to the website, and they're going to be all gone.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be like, damn,
Then he's
knows
going to have
he's
to
gonna
pay
love it.
more.
He's gonna love it. It's a Harsey. It's gonna be great.
yeah,
It has
yeah.
to be.
I think it would be really cool to have it hollow ground out, have it like really, to have this kind of job done on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask you, who would like to do the knife fight tonight? Because we have an interesting one, and I don't want Christine and Pete to go against each other.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm the instigator here, guys.
I would, yes, Alex, I saw that comment, and yes, it's funny because being on the video, I keep catching comments on my phone, but I can't answer anybody, so I always talk to people. I'm not ignoring any of you. I just can't answer anybody.
No
Yeah,
worries.
the corner of my eye. I got my laptop kind of.
I'd go with it.
There, the corner of my eyes. So
She has knives. I have to be nice.
nice. That's a good one. Tier 1.
I think she has the better knives.
You know what? Actually, we are going to do this.
I'm just kidding.
Ask Blade Banker about the Harsey. I was watching his videos all day today.
Oh yeah. See, Bob, I told you the exact same thing. Ask Blade Banker.
Yeah, well, he's I have him saved in my little Harsey folder.
There you go.
Model Harsey folder. I have a source. The plain Jane. Either that or
He needs a Chad Nichols Damascus one
There you go.
for sure.
Yes, but I'm not so fond of all the laser engraving. I mean, I would like the compass looks kind of cool, but I would rather have it. Well, whatever.
Chad Nichols Damascus.
Put a.
Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate in the other direction, man. There is nothing wrong with plain tie on a knife done just right.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple
Bob,
can be gorgeous.
Bob, coming from a guy that's gonna put like a zirconium clip on a Mannix,
Yeah.
right? Like or a Zircotie.
Don't listen
Right.
to him.
You gotta get the Chad Nichols Damascus. Like that's just it. Like,
Slicey's video also was the other one, and he got a cool setup. Like
tie with the right grind.
there you go. Those VDKs are really cool.
Oh yeah.
There's something about just plain titanium is just nice. It is cool. I got a lot of just plain Janes. The one that TJ's building for me, the King Kamehameha, is going to be pretty plain. So they don't always have to be fancy. Sometimes I want some just plain stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta put fancy stuff. Come on, Bob. You gotta go dressy. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My Harsey is just black DLC and stonewash blade. And
Perfect.
I love that. I love the way that looks.
Yeah.
You know that black DLC handle is going to get nice and scuffed up, and the blade will always look. Yeah, I like that combination. Some people think it's plain. I like it.
No,
that's how I prefer it.
kidding?
Damascus is too gimmicky.
How dare you?
Oh man, that's blasphemy right there.
So it can be crazy. Like that knife I showed before is really, really, really busy. Like that's a busy Damasteel, right? But then, like if you spend a little bit extra money, you can get one like this one, where it's very, very, very fine Damascus, right? Like herringbone. And then I think that makes a knife look way better when it's a nice fine Damascus like this.
The herringbone is cool. I've got one Todd Beg herringbone bodega, and it's pretty cool. I never really liked it at first, but then I saw it in person, and I was like, sure, I'll take it.
But then, like from distance, it doesn't look wild, right?
Correct.
That's a little bit like this. This Damascus is so refined, you can't even tell it's Damascus.
Exactly.
Alex and I have issues. I'm sorry. Let's go to the knife because I don't think the 12 people that are watching or however many want to hear us talk about the intricacies of Damascus and which one's more refined. And
I agree with Dirk. But before we do that, I just want to say that I'm just instigating. And actually, raw titanium is a very nice look. I have plenty of those.
It is a nice look, but
now he backsteps.
To address.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean,
Poor Bob has lost control.
Sorry, man.
Hey, Jim, just cut it. Just cut it, Jim. What did that last one say? Something about Alex.
What?
What I was gonna say to Dirk's point. Wait, man,
Fancy
you have
knives.
some fancy knives. Yeah. What was I gonna say to your point? I don't even remember at this point.
I had a point.
You did. I think you did.
That's a new one.
All right. This is gonna be Christine.
All right.
This is how it's gonna be. I think this is the knife fight between the two of you, and we have two outstanding judges here who can judge, and then if need be, I can be the tiebreaker. But this knife fight is axis lock versus button lock, and that's kind of the best of both worlds, isn't it? So I think you're going to be axis lock. I think because I'm looking left to right, axis lock, button lock, and then I'm looking left to right at you guys, and it's Christine and Pete. So Christine, you're axis lock, and Pete, you're button lock. Little on the nose, but that's how I'm going to decide it.
That works.
All right. So Christine, let's have you go first. Why?
She's just going to stab me with one. That's not.
Because this.
As a judge, no blood, no biting, no kicking, no hitting below the belt, and no hitting right below the neck either.
So I'm fighting about why I prefer the axis lock.
Yeah. In a minute and a half, tell us why the axis lock is clearly superior to the button lock. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1.
So the axis lock has, I don't know if this is true, but it has less fail points than the button lock. It is easier to open. I've never thought about this. So it's easier to open. I feel that it's more fail proof in all ways. I've never sat and thought about this. This is going to be a terrible fight.
Yeah, you guys really put us on the spot. That's funny.
I know, that's really good.
So
they're totally going to leave us here.
Oh, that's
Honestly, for women, I'm going to go this direction. Here we go. For women, the axis lock is better because normally I have nails. And for me, sometimes the button lock is harder to get to. The axis lock is a lot more friendly. To me, sometimes it can be quicker. It's just all around better. I don't even...
That was you got
like that.
That was the best save I've ever heard in my life.
Oh,
You
wait.
went from
I had to go to the women thing, right?
personalized it. You personalized it, and I started feeling it.
I love
So Pete, I'm
Get your work cut out for
going
you, sir.
to give you 5 seconds to gather your stuff together,
No, I'm ready.
and so you will be going in 3, 2, 1.
Well, the axis lock is an excellent locking mechanism for knives. The Omega springs, or whatever brand they use, is an absolute fail point. And if you're in the field, that can really be a problem. Now, buttons do have a spring, but they tend to be encased. So they're a lot less likely to pick up crap and get stuff in the way. Also, button locks can allow you to have a flipper tab or thumb studs. So they allow for multiple forms of deployment separate from the locking mechanism itself. Also, button locks are just more fun. You can... I've been muted.
I like the button locks are just more fun.
The fun factor
agree
is
with that. I think-
an actual factor.
I think for digitability, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, where am I here? I think they're both just as good.
This is why I chose it as a because they're to me they're equally fun and equally reliable.
battle.
Yeah.
What a
don't argue.
battle.
We're not good at this.
This is great.
Now,
That was
if
great.
you wanted to have a battle about how clean the various spaces in the house need to be, that we could have argued about.
We won't even go to that one.
Oh, Pete, stop.
Oh,
I'd lose.
If you have to say,
Holy
I'm going to
crap,
throw
there's so
myself
many
under
more
the bus.
people here.
Button lock, like the Orion, is friendlier because you can have the flip action, the flipper tab, whereas I can't always get to the thumb studs on a knife. Like I can't always flip them all the way. So I love the thumb studs, the button lock. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I might have to. I'm sorry.
All right.
So we need the button lock would be the clear winner.
I think we need to get a consensus from some viewers in the next 5 or so minutes, and I wanted to wait. Jim, could you put 2 comments back? I know that isn't helpful for you, but I can't remember who said it. There was something in there that was brilliant, and I can't remember exactly what it was. But in any case, what'd you think, Alex?
I like them.
Well, okay. So here's what I think. So when Christine said that, the axis lock is definitely less of a fail point, that's obviously incorrect. But then when she came around and saved it with that women with nails, and I could just think of myself with nails and pinch the axis lock with my nails still to the side adjacent to the scales. So that makes perfect sense. So that was really good. But then Therapeutic Edge went so technical, and he was, technically on point. So, but I'm gonna give it to Christine for creativity.
But I have to, and I've never grown my nails out. But Christine, can you not access a button lock with your thumb, just with the meat of your thumb? And no, you're the only one here who can say no, not really.
If you want, we're supposed to have I prefer. You wanted me to pick the access lock, right? Yeah. If you want me to pick the one I prefer,
button
lock. Okay.
Absolutely.
Although, if the button is recessed, and a lot of Protex do this, they recess the button.
Yes.
Then I prefer the access lock.
If you have long nails, then you can't get to it as easily, right?
Yeah,
you're relying on pad strength as opposed to push strength.
I had long nails until I started playing with knives.
True.
And then I couldn't play with the knives as long as I had nails because you just can't.
Yeah.
So as much as I do love the access lock, I would always choose a button lock.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're talking strict fidgetability, I still say the button lock gets it. I do have love for the axis lock, the able lock, and other bar type ambidextrous locks. But a button lock is for me. So we're gonna go around the room. We're gonna get final thoughts from everyone, and then we're gonna wrap up. Because over here on the East Coast, it's a little bit late. It's not that late, but I'm starting to look at that. All California folk. What is it?
It's true.
California and Pennsylvania are right off, and Oregon, the 3 knife states. Would you say that's true?
Yeah. No, we're super lucky. We live spitting distance from great knife groups, good knife companies, good knife makers. We live. Brian Light, Sean Hassan of Tepe Designs. These guys live 20 minutes from us, 30 minutes from us. It's fantastic.
That is so cool.
You're right, Slicey. To be fair, Slicey, I had to argue the knife that I didn't choose, or the lock that I was given.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that I think that's probably the first argument I've ever won. So that was, you really put her in a spot.
You guys planned this, didn't you?
And I'm going to pay for this later. So thanks for that. That's awesome.
My PayPal address, and also it's you should feel glad that the one argument that you did win will be forever immortalized in video online.
Oh, that's messed up.
That's great.
Not everyone can say that. All right. Well, any words for the upcoming week for our visitors, our viewers? Anyone?
No. Other than this, my hope is that as they're canceling the big shows, that nice people will take this as an excuse to safely gather. Right? If you live in a town or in a place where there are other nice people nearby, and you aren't going to get to go to Blade Show West or Blade Show East or whatever, all that take this opportunity to meet the other knife people near you. You know, wear your masks, do the right thing, but you can get together and still knife with friends. I don't know how else to say it, and keep it sort of alive so that when you go next year, you may have a community to take with you, a large group of people to go to the shows. You know, that's kind of what I hope happens, that we build smaller groups if we can't all get together in these large and mass, you know, programs. That's what I hope.
And you're California, right?
Napa.
You're Napa.
Yeah.
That's right. We gotta get you down here to one of the Bach meetings.
Yep.
We'd love to have you come along. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, let's chat and figure something out, since
Yeah, definitely.
One Creek's an hour away or so we can figure that out. And Alex isn't that far away either in Southern California. You can just jump in the car and scoot on up.
Yeah.
Or we'll come
6
to you.
hours, you're good.
When this gets better, we'll come to you, because then Disneyland also. I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm only like 20-minute drive from Disneyland.
Okay.
Nice.
How do you
And you know what
organize
you're
from that?
saying is actually, it's funny you're saying that, because I think that actually is kind of happening. Like even around me, Bearded Gear, I don't know if you guys have seen that YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And I've known Jake for a few years on the Facebook groups, but he started a YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, check him out. He's good. And him and I just found, you know, he lives in Pasadena, which is 20 minutes from me, 30 minutes from me. So we just did a co-op video on YouTube. I think he already posted it on his channel. I haven't done mine yet. But like that's happening. And then Nietzsche Design actually is right around the corner with us too. So he just met up with Bearded Gear, and then I'm supposed to get the next pass along and check out that knife.
So cool.
It's cool. Like, you know, everybody's kind of like coming around the works.
Yeah.
So
I'd also say if you live in a place that doesn't have a strong knife community, which is what I suspect I live in, you can also take this time to actually buy a knife. And as Dave Wattenberg was saying on this show, when you buy a knife, say you buy a ProTech from Blade HQ, it's not only supporting Blade HQ and ProTech, it's supporting the people who sell the people Blade HQ their boxes and their coffee and all these other things. So it has a real ripple effect when you spend the money, especially locally like that. So keep buying knives. It's a moral imperative, you know?
Yep.
I can do that for you.
Thank you, Pete. I feel like I've done my work.
Oh, I think you've done enough, Bob.
You've done enough, Michael.
But when you guys think you guys get bored, or like, let's say like some of you guys even have an occasion where you don't have enough money, or you're tight right now, where you can't buy like a custom knife, you can still play around with stuff in your cabinet, you know, which is really awesome. So.
Okay, so Mike Emler, yes, I would love that. That would be awesome. I just want to say before we sign off, every one of these fine individuals on screen right now has their own YouTube channels, and they're all awesome, and all for different reasons. So you should definitely check them out. Dirk Werning, awesome channel. We've got Alex Tissot of Alex's Knifebox, dear old friend of the show. Both of these guys have crazy collections of exotic and custom handmade knives is what I'm going to call them from now on.
I have some handmade Spydercos.
Handmade Spydercos. Women Carry Knives has an awesome new channel. She was I'm not saying that she does this on the regular, but I commented on her CRKT Pete video. She generously sent it out to me. Love this knife. I love your take on knives, and it's great to have a different perspective, especially because I buy knives for my wife, and it's interesting to have a woman's perspective beyond the buy a pink knife thing. And a Therapeutic Edge. You also have a killer collection that is very much in line with my tastes. You like the bigger, beefier, hard use knives, and I love your channel too. I love your What's in the Pocket videos, because I know I can get through a couple of them in the small amount of time I have to watch videos. And so all four of you, I love what you're doing. Women Carry Knives and a Therapeutic Edge, thank you so much for being the special guest host tonight on
Thanks for having us.
Knives. It's a pleasure. And of course, as always, Alex and Dirk, thank you so much for coming on.
And if you guys are in LA and you guys want to hit me up and want to do a knife meet, I just want to throw that out there because people are making comments.
This is how weird this is for me because I'm a huge fan of all you guys. Right? You're
No. I'm a fan of you. That's how that works.
It's the mutual admiration.
Mutual admiration.
Love you guys.
All right. And so, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, who I would like to thank and give the glory to, and for Women Carry Knives, a Therapeutic Edge, Alex of Alex's Knifebox, and Dirk Werning, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, don't take dull for an answer.
That was fun. That was good.